Whoa! Good day, good morning, good evening to all of you guys out there, all you gals and girls and whatnots, the days and the dims, and whoever else is listening. Today is the 7th episode. A lot going on. We're up to 7 though, calling this one 7th Heaven. That means I'm going to all the guitar greats that's made it to heaven. Not all of them, ain't got that much time, but I grabbed a handful. Such as Chuck Berry and the great B.B. King. Actually got to see B.B. at a Louisville Garden, at a Louisville Palace back in the 90s, and he was old then. I mean, he lasted a long time, and he passed away, and that's one of those when you can just feel it when he passes away. Oh, the thrill is gone once he was gone. But there you go. That's a little something there. It's a little intro there to the 7th Heaven, the 7th episode of The Other Side of Everything Else. Once again, I don't know when Rejected Reality will get started again, but I recommend that you follow Sean. I know he's on Twitter. I know he's posting stuff, and it's at Derby Party. I'm sure you can look up his name or at Derby Party and you can find him. But he's always getting on there and doing what he can, throwing out what information he's got. Hope everybody got out there and voted. Last week's episode, we did the little political episode, which is usually not what I do here. It's usually, sticking with mainly music, a little TV stuff. But coming up, I'm hoping to get into a little wrestling, talk about that, because I really like wrestling, and it's at a good spot right now. It's a good time to be a fan, I guess, is what I might say. I'm going to go watch the Goo Goo Dolls tonight, so that's a little bit out of what I usually do. So that's hoping to have a good report on that. I'm still going to work on a year-end episode. There's a lot of music that came out, lots of covers still. I want to get into some more new music, turn you on to all that. But please like, subscribe, comment. But anyway, this is the 7th episode, and I do that little play on words, it seems like. So I went with 7th Heaven. So I said, well, what can I do with 7th Heaven? 7th episode? Hey, we'll throw in the greats that's passed on. Most of them's passed on before their time, and I should have threw Jimi Hendrix in there. I mean, he could be arguably the best, and I went and skipped over him. But I was trying to grab some ones that maybe you did not know about, such as this one right here. This is a little Tommy Bolin. He started out with a deep. What? I didn't start out. He started out with James Gang, I think. Get a little volume on there. But he played with Deep Purple. So that tells you what kind of player he is. If he can replace Richie Blackmore, which nobody can replace Richie Blackmore, but there was a time when you had David Coverdale in the band, you had Glenn Hughes in the band, two powerful vocals. But he also had some solo stuff. He had one that I really loved here. Teaser. Motley Crue did a pretty good version of this. So I recommend you go out there and you check out some Tommy Bolin. Go dig into his stuff. Like I said, he did stuff with James Gang. He did stuff with Deep Purple, his solo stuff, and then he died back. I want to say he's 26. I didn't make notes because I'm so busy with getting the rental ready and getting things ready for winter time and all that. So there's a little bit from him right there. Anyway, I'm going to jump into a little Mick Ronson. A lot of you probably don't know Mick Ronson. Mick Ronson, he played with David Bowie mainly. He played with David Bowie, and he, of course, did some solo stuff. But he is one of the reasons I want to throw him in there is a lot of people don't know, but he was Randy Rhoads' idol. That's who Randy Rhoads looked up to. That's who he wanted to be like. And the playing is not really that similar there, but or is it? But the look is definitely, reminiscent of Randy Rhoads. Mick Ronson, though, said he's Very underrated guitarist. Of course, he did some solo stuff also. But since I used him, and I'm going to just segue right into some Randy.
March 19th, 1982, while on tour in Florida, Ozzy's band made a pit stop at the home of millionaire Jerry.
Like I said, now thinking about it, I'm looking back on it, I really should have added Jimi Hendrix, but I was trying to go off the rails here a little bit. Off the rails, Randy Rhoads. Hey, crazy train. But anyway, want to add Randy in there most definitely. But then I'm also wanting to bring in Jeff Healey. Some of you may remember Jeff Healey, but it could have just went off your radar, or you maybe forgot about him, or if you're a little bit younger, then maybe you never knew him. But he was famous for Angel Eyes. Great ballad, probably one of the best. He was blind, been blind since he was a little kid, and he played with the guitar laying in his lap, which is so unusual, especially, at that time. And he was also got big from the movie Roadhouse, because he was the house band there. But he's a great blues player. He's also got a jazz album out that I enjoy. I'm into some jazz. And hey, Roadhouse is one of those movies that if it's on TBS or TNT or whatever and it's playing, I gotta stop and watch a little bit of it until the commercial comes on, But anyway, trying to go on through here. But I'm going to jump into where our next one's going to be Stevie Ray Vaughan. So there's a little duet with Jeff Healey and Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, that was like a meeting of the two great blues players in the 80s there at the time, I know there's more, but that was the two well-known ones in the 80s at that time. Still amazing me how he play with that in his lap like that. Be an interesting way to learn some stuff. Oh, look at that. You very rarely see Jeff jump up. You know he's into it now. Oh, you don't talk about his little sister, Stevie. But then the great Stevie Ray Vaughan. There's a few artists I remember exactly what I was doing whenever I heard about their death. Elvis Presley. I was 10 years old or whatever, and I remember hearing, I think I'd like jump around on the couch or something, and I'd just sit down. I loved Elvis. And Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was driving with my family at the time, and still my family, except for the ex-wife. She's no longer the family, but kids were all real young. I was driving along, and I was at the red light in Craigsville, Indiana. There's only one red light there, so if you're there, you know what I'm talking about. And I heard it on the radio. And I remember either thinking or maybe my ex told me that the light's green. And I was like, and then I just got to shake the fog off and go, Talk about the greats. It's arguably, who's greater, it's all a matter of perspective, whatever. It's all just a matter of perspective, who you want to say is the great and all that. But to me, it's hard to argue with my last pick, and I'm sure most of you already know that we're going to have to go with King Edward, sung by Eddie Van Halen. I mean, I would probably go Randy Rhoads, but Eddie's got more discography. He's got, he got to be around longer. He got to put more stuff out. He can get melodic. And I loved his rhythm playing just as much as anything. He's a master at the right hand technique. He just could do it all. He could shred. There's that tapping. He's a master at tapping it. Oh, you gotta tap it, baby. You gotta tap it. I mean, he had the licks, he had the tricks. Look at that, using the volume control there. Even before he was putting keyboards on the albums, he was making the guitar sound like a keyboard. And I'd suggest go into, if you're a David Lee Roth fan or a Sammy Hagar fan or a Gary Cherone fan, check it all out, because the common denominator is Eddie Van Halen. King Edward. Long live the king. I mean, I'm hoping to do an episode sometime where I might go through the decades, the best of that decade, which is almost hard. I mean, that's almost impossible right there. I mean, because, you look at Jimmy Page, you look at, Ritchie Blackmore, David Gilmour, Brian May, and the 80s was just, my God, you had everybody, from George Lynch to Eddie Van Halen to Randy Rhoads to Warren DeMartini. I mean, I just start naming them. They just start popping off the top of my head before long. But like I said, I'm looking straight into the new year, trying to think of what to do there, because I'm looking straight through Christmas into the new year right now. I see you. Anyway, a lot going on. Like I said, I hope you got out there and voted. I mean, that's all you can do. We're just the peons. I mean, we vote, we hope for the best. We struggle through. So just be good to each other. No reason to be mad at anybody. Life is life. Once you don't got life, it ain't worth living. See you on the other side.